Before I jump in, and we're going to pull some leads. We're going to build a campaign. I've got a pre-foreclosure letter that you're going to mail out. I'm going to walk through all this. Let's just kind of talk about the fundamentals, number one, of foreclosure. And this is going to be kind of generally speaking because not all banks do it the same way. Not all counties record it the same way. So, but in general, obviously somebody misses a payment. And generally, that person knows that they won't be able to make that next payment. So in their mind, it's even happening before they miss the payment. They know they're not going to be able to make it. If that goes on for about 90 days, and of course, during those 90 days, the bank's calling, they're sending notices, hey, you missed a payment. After about 90 days, if they fail to try to work out something with the bank or make the payment, then they're going to go through that foreclosure process. They'll have an attorney that will represent the bank. They file the paperwork and then they record it down at the county recorder's office. Once that's recorded, we get that information right away, okay, that this is going to happen. Generally speaking, they will schedule an auction date to put the home up for auction, and that could be anywhere between 30 days to 90 days. Sometimes the banks they'll hire a third-party auction company to actually conduct the auction. Then you have auctions that take place down at the county court steps like we've all heard about. Once it goes to auction, the bank makes the first bid, and that's what they call the starting minimum bid. And then there's people like us that could go and outbid the bank. Whoever wins the bid wins the property. So if an investor made an offer or bid on it, then they would have to come up with the funds, usually within 48 hours to buy it. If nobody outbids the bank wins the property, and that's when they have to take the property back, and now it's called bank owned or REO. Of course, they own it, so they got to start paying taxes. They have to start paying insurance on this. And then at some point, they will hire a realtor to list the house and try to get it sold for whatever it's worth. Sometimes the bank can make some money doing it that way, but in most cases, they generally lose money because here they've lost these monthly payments of income. They have to pay the taxes. They have to put insurance on it. They have to hire staff to actually handle this. After the auction, when they take this property back, it could be 6 to 9 months before they even put it on the market. Now, every dollar that the bank takes back, so if you have a $300,000 home and they have to take that back, so every dollar they take back, they can't loan 3 mortgages, HELOCs, whatever it may be, because a bank has to be what we call liquid. They can't own anything because they make money by us borrowing it. You think about now the owner went through foreclosure, it's going to go on their credit report for 7 to 10 years. So now their credit's damaged. They would be lucky to even pass a rental application at an apartment complex. Because if you're a landlord, why would you ever rent a place to someone that wouldn't even pay their own mortgage on their own home, right? I mean, I'd be thinking that, right? Sometimes people lose their job and it takes them 3 or 4 months to get back on their feet. Now, banks will work with the owners to a point. So sometimes they'll file the pre-foreclosure notice and the owner's trying to work out, maybe they can make half payments temporarily until they can get back on their feet. The owner could, if they have equity, they could sell the property, right? Just sell it and not go through this mess. Our goal as investors is to get the property before the auction date. Okay. Once it goes to auction, then anybody and everybody can bid on it. What we want to do is actually get it before that. Now, here's how we do this, and this is keeping it general. Every owner that goes through this prior to the auction is going to get letters in the mail that says it's called a reinstatement amount, like you owe 3, 4, 5 months plus penalties, late fees, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, it's going to auction. If we can make up those payments, that stops the whole foreclosure process because now the loan is brought current. But if I'm going to put money into this home to bring the loan current, I want to own the home. I don't want to put money into a home that I don't own. Obviously, we need to run the numbers. We need to see the property. We need to understand the repairs, the location. We need to understand a lot of moving parts here. But at the end of the day, we want to make up those back payments. We want to go in and fix up the property. And then we want to put it back on the market and we want to sell it to another buyer. Now, when we do that, that's going to pay off the original loan with the homeowner. So while we're fixing the property up, we have to make those monthly payments to the bank to keep it current. We bought and sold a $500,000 home, but it only cost me 50 grand out of my pocket to do the deal. And we made like 82 grand on it. If I were to buy a $500,000 house as an investor, I would have to put down 20% in order to get the loan. That's 100 grand. Plus, I would then have to put the money in for repairs. I have holding costs. I'll have to continually make the payment. So, as you can see, it doesn't take as much cash out of your pocket to keep the loan in place, but just bring it current and keep making. That's a lot cheaper, by the way. We have a list in REI Pro, and we're going to pull those and we're going to start marketing those with a letter. Okay. I like to keep it personal, very like it's just a normal, somebody hand wrote me a letter. You're going to put a real stamp on it. The key with this business is learning how to be creative in the marketing, because the key is to get the owner to actually call you or go to your website, fill out a form. That's the hard part. These people are embarrassed. This has been a burden. Some of them are mad at the banks. They're mad at people. They don't know if you're a scam artist, like you're working for the bank and you're spying in to look at the property. I mean, people get paranoid. The only way you can help them is to buy the house. And here's how we're going to buy it. Okay. We could stop this whole mess, because once you stop the foreclosure, you just save their credit, number one. If the property goes to auction and that day it's sold, there'll be a sheriff at the front door removing these people and their things from the house. You know, a lot of times people don't have money to move. So what I'd like to do is actually offer moving money to them up front. Generally, it's 5 grand. You know, I always like to ask, you know, do you have any friends or family that could maybe help you financially to bring the loan current? Like, I'm trying to help you, right? Because here's what's going
Yeah,
to happen if you don't. The title company that we close the transaction, the attorneys that have to draw up the deeds, all the contractors that we're going to hire to repair the home, and then the neighbors, right? Because a lot of times, if you can't afford the mortgage payment, you start to let things go, you know, the grass, the trees, whatever it may be, and it kind of looks depreciated. And the neighbors don't like that, which could depreciate the street or the neighborhood. And then ultimately, you're going to put a new buyer in the home after you fix it up. I want you to think of how many people you just helped, all because you know how to do it. That's huge. And that's why this is a very niche business. If you understand how to connect the dots with this business, not many people do. There's not many investors that know how to do it. They've heard of it. You know, hey, I've heard of pre-foreclosures. Hey, I've heard about this. What do you do with it? They have no idea how to actually connect the dots. And when you're able to do that, I mean, it's huge. It's one of those businesses that just makes you feel good type of businesses, you know, but
totally.
you have to keep in mind, you're going to be working with a lot of different types of people, a lot of
Right.
different attitudes, a lot of different emotions that are going into this. And you think about, can a bank help them? No, because they're calling the loan due. Can a realtor help them? Well, they could list the house if they have equity to try to sell it. We say that all the time. Why don't you just sell the house? Think something's going to happen. They think something's going to change. And guess what? Now it's too late. Because I want you to think about this. Pre-foreclosure actually started before they missed the first payment, because the owner knew they weren't going to be able to make the payment. Then they get harassed by the bank to make the payment, and then they don't make another payment. Then they don't make another payment. Then it gets filed at the county. Then they don't make another payment. Then they don't make another. Now they're getting threatened that it's going to auction. This is a long period of time that someone's been dealing with this. There are times where the homeowner can call the bank and try to make a payment arrangement. There's a lot of people that don't. Everybody's trying to call them to make a payment, make a payment. They'll start screening their calls. That's why, again, we don't call people in pre-foreclosure. I mean, what you think about, what am I going to do? Call someone in pre-foreclosure. Hey, I noticed you're behind on payments. I mean, that's a hard conversation to have with someone, and they don't even know who you are. That's why we like to send letters, and we like to handwrite the envelopes. We like to put a stamp on it. Let's go build a campaign. All right, the first thing we need to do, obviously, is jump into Lead Pro. Now, I personally start with kind of big radius, like counties versus individual locations. Pre-foreclosures, and then search. Super simple. We have 357, but we're going to filter this down to a much lower list. Okay.
It's HENNIPEN,
There it is.
I think. Yeah.
Okay, that puts us at 12. Let me filter these two particular counties down and let's see what we're with. Okay. So we're going to go to filters. Now, for now, I want you to do single family homes, but in the future, I don't really care what it is outside of a mobile home. The next section, this pre-foreclosure section, this one's important. All you have to do is just say future only. Show me the properties that have a future auction date. Let me explain this. When the bank files the notice for pre-foreclosure, they don't communicate with the county after that. So if the homeowner worked out a payment arrangement, the county has no idea. So the counties, it's just sitting there that it's still in pre-foreclosure. The only time the county's going to change that is if the deed changed, like the property was sold. You could have a property that went into pre-foreclosure in January. It's still in pre-foreclosure. Then it gets to the summertime. It goes to auction. It becomes bank owned. When that ownership changes in the summer back to the bank, that would be a
Yep.
new recording, which would then overwrite that pre-foreclosure status. Or if somebody bought it at auction, or if we work out something with the owner, we're going to have the attorney actually print up a new deed and put it in our company name. Other than that, the bank doesn't even talk to the county. The county doesn't talk to the bank. The county is just like, oh, you have something we need to file. Great. Pay us this much. Done. So there, we hold pre-foreclosure properties up to 12 months, but I only want you to work on what's new, what's in the future. Scroll down and you're going to go to potential equity. I want you to set the minimum at 30%. I start with the minimum 30. Obviously, you have to have some equity because guess what? We have to make up the back payments. We have to fix up the home. That costs us money. We can't take over a property that has no equity. I start with 30. Obviously, we'd prefer more than that, but 30% of $1 million is different than 30% of $100,000 house. The only other thing I want you to do is go down to owners and hit individual owned. And then we're going to apply those filters. That's it. I don't worry about bedrooms, baths, nothing. So if you look at this home right here, this first home, 187 estimated value. We're showing about 117. Now we don't know what they're behind. We don't know the penalties. We don't know the exact number, but this gives us a good ballpark. They're getting ready to lose everything. Why wouldn't they want to sell? Why wouldn't they want to do something? Some people, again, we don't know if they've worked out anything with the bank, but I market everybody. And then what I want you to do is I want you to save that search because remember, you're going to rerun this search next month. Now, next month, the first time you do this, you're going to get everything, but next month it's only a short window of 30 days. So there may only be 40. You have to do it every month because you can't miss that one you didn't do because it'll be that one that would have called, that one that was a big deal. Of course, remember to save the search, right? So I'm going to go up to actions. I'm going to select all. I'm going to add to a marketing campaign just like you normally do. Label it that. Now, I want you to label this as April, pre-foreclosure, May, June, blah, blah, blah. Now, once I add these selected leads, I'm now going to go to marketing. It's going to be very, same thing. Now, here's the important part right here. I'm going to pull this list up here. Okay, I'm just going to click on the name. And then the header here where it says auction date, if you click it, it will auto sort it by date. We don't have time to market those properties, right? You really at minimum, I would say 7 to 10 days. Okay, so
Hmm.
what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna start checking these because I need to remove these from the list because we don't have time to market these. I have literally the day before the auction, I'll put the house under contract to buy with the owner. That's how we stop the auction, by the way. We will submit that to
Gotcha.
the bank to postpone the auction because we're gonna buy it. I've never had a bank say no. Not none of my students either, by the way.
Really? Huh.
It doesn't mean they could just say, you know what, sorry, it's going to auction. They could say that. I've just never had a bank say no just before the auction. Because think
Okay.
about it, they don't want to go through this. So,
Right. Gotcha.
but no promises. I just right now we have 100% record right now, so that they will. But you still don't want to get too, get too tight. Because keep in mind,
Yep.
it's going to take 3 days to get to the home. Some of these
Right.
addresses may be in a different location. So I'm just going to check these and remove these by going to the action and then clicking delete selected. Okay. So now we're down to 85 now. So now the next auction date is going to be the 6th. So that gives us a little time to send something to them. Hopefully they call, right? That's the key, remember, is to get someone to call. Go look at the property. We run the numbers. Once we run the numbers, we can look and they agree, we can put it under contract and we'll submit that to the bank to postpone the auction because the owner's going to say, I have a buyer that's going to buy the home. Can we postpone this? I'm going to send over a copy of the contract. And that's the part I said, I've never had a bank say no. You're going to now go to the print letters so you could see what it looks like. You can download this in a Word doc or a PDF. Once I do that, you're going to see this and then it's going to be downloaded. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this up, share my screen with you. Let me pull it up first. So we're going to have a headline here. And then regarding this property address, now if I go to the
Perfect.
next letter, it's a different address, different person. So I've already got it programmed to input the address and the owner's first name for you. So this is super easy. Now, once you do this, okay, once you print out the letters, I would like for you to get it's kind of an extra level, but I think it actually helps, is get some Post-it notes. I want you to write on the Post-it note, call me anytime, Dan, here's my cell. I want you to take
Yeah.
that Post-it note and stick it on the letter somewhere. Now, after you print the letters out, I want you to open the campaign and make sure you write the mailing address on the envelope, not the property address. Now, in most cases, they'll be the same, but there'll be
Right.
cases where it's an absentee owner and they're not even going to get it. And then, of
Yep.
course, you could put your return address on there as well. And then, of course, place a stamp on it, take it down to the post office and dump them in and forget about it. When somebody calls, they're like, so what do you guys do? Well, tell me a little bit about the home. We actually are looking to buy some properties. We know that maybe you were behind on payments. It looks like it may be in the pre-foreclosure state. So I know we don't have much time, but would you mind just talking to me about the property? Just try to get the basics, try to understand, their situation as much as you can. They're not always going to be open to you because you're a stranger. Help a lot of people out that are in this situation. Now, feel free
Awesome.
in the future to do anything creative. If you want to change the letters up, if you want to change the color of the whatever you think you can do to be creative to get people to open it and call you. If you do send the blue envelope with a stamp, they're going to open it, right? I mean, a lot of people, they just sort their mail over the trash can. That's step one, right? Is to get them to read what you sent them. Step
Yeah.
two is we got to get them to call.